And we've got brother Michael Noland on. Hey, how you
How's it
doing?
going, Royce?
Good. Would you pay to see this show?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
and I'd even pay a good fair price. The only thing that would
Yeah,
stop me
exactly.
from this show, and yes, I am aware they're coming to my area, would be extremely high ticket prices.
Extremely high. Right,
I
right.
have, I have my outer limits, but I'd pay a
Absolutely.
good fair price
Like for
just
me,
just for Sammy Hagar
just for Sammy
alone.
Hagar. Yeah,
I've seen him twice.
Okay.
The first time I ever saw him was when they were touring their very first album at Winterland.
Right.
Winterland, I should say,
Right.
in San Francisco. And I was so freaking blown away by Montrose.
Right.
And I am a huge Montrose fan as well, but equal to Montrose in that band was Sammy Hagar.
Right. Hey,
I
Chris
immediately,
Elliott. Yeah.
Hi Chris.
Yeah,
I immediately went out and bought that album the very next morning, the second the record store opened, and it is one of my favorite albums in rock and roll. The very first Montrose album. And the man is
kind of a greatest hits here. Yeah.
Yeah. And the man is one of rock and roll's very best vocalists. The only question I have is the early, he's clearly a better vocalist, in my opinion, than David Lee Roth. But David Lee Roth had that sophomoric delivery and that inside joke kind of approach to his singing that I'm not sure Sammy Hagar can carry off. I don't know. What do you guys think?
He could jump off stacks amplifiers and 10 feet in the air. Go ahead. Well, first, let me introduce you guys. We have Zepp Curl, Vance. Vance has got a great show. You've really been doing a lot of stuff lately. I've caught a couple of them. And we've got Chris Elliott. How you doing, Chris?
I'm okay. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, very nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. So anyway, I guess Vance, you were starting, and we'll check in with Chris here next.
Well, I'll just kind of pick up where Michael left off there. I've seen Sammy do the old David songs back in the, when he first joined the band on the 50 tours and 08, 1, 2 and stuff. And then I've recently seen the Circle probably before the shutdowns and stuff. And he could do he'll do like You Really Got Me and Ain't Talking About Love and stuff like that. Right. So I'd be curious if they add some new ones to that.
Right. Well, I tell you, the first time I saw Van Halen was when they reunited with David Lee Roth, and they played here at the Paso Robles Fairgrounds. We had great seats. Went with my wife and daughter and her significant other, and it was just a great show. And David Lee Roth, I mean, everybody had really aged by then, right? It wasn't all that long ago. But David Lee Roth came out there and did the best he could. He wasn't getting the big air he used to get. But it was a great show. So I got to see, Eddie and Alex and Michael Anthony on bass, and then of course, David Lee Roth. So it was a lot of fun to see that. And I've seen Jason Bonham, who's going to be touring with them now. I saw him just 2 months ago at Vina Robles Amphitheater right here. And so I've seen him play, and I was really blown away by that. I mean, he was so good, and his band was so good. I mean, they were just absolutely excellent. So that would be a really good show. So, Chris, what do you think about this upcoming concert?
Well, I can't wait to see it. Well, it's in Detroit, but I don't know if I can afford to go.
Okay. Have you seen the ticket prices?
Last time I looked, they were $275, and that was for not quite nosebleeds, but you're getting there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
that's a little pricey. If you
and it's American money too. So the exchange rate now is about almost 40%. So.
Oh, okay. So you're in Canada. I see the flag and stuff behind you.
Yeah.
But as far as going to see them, like I saw Van Halen on their Balance tour.
Okay.
That was a great show.
Yeah.
And I've seen Jason Bonham 4 times.
Oh, wow.
With the Led Zeppelin experience.
Am I wrong? I mean, their band is excellent.
Oh, amazing.
I don't know if it's the same band every time you've seen them. I think I've seen videos of him with different people singing and stuff like that. But
I wouldn't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but the kid's got the chops. He's got the chops.
No, he really does.
He's worth a gander live. Satriani is worth more than a gander, but the meat in the tostado, folks, for me, is Hagar. He's a living legend in my mind. I've been a major fan of his. He has rarely disappointed me throughout his entire career. And I actually became more of a Van Halen fan when he joined, and then kind of caught up on their earlier albums. I love them both. I love both approaches that Van Halen had with both frontmen.
Well, let me ask everybody here on the panel right now. Did you like David Lee Roth better than Sammy Hagar?
That's the big question.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty tough because
to me they're two different bands.
Two different bands.
I've always had a hard time answering that question because they're just two different styles. I mean, the Hagar years, you could tell they were just all having a lot of fun.
Yeah, they seemed like
It's just it seems like a happy band, right? So
a happy band. I like that.
The Dave years, it seemed there was always some sort of stress. And Dave, I saw him in '84 with Dave, and Dave would go off on his tangents and forget words, and you could tell that Alex, they're like he just missed his cue. You could tell when they're playing, he just the eyes were glaring and stuff.
Yeah.
So. But you listen to those early records too. I mean, they're fantastic. I was just listening to the Zero demos I have over here somewhere. I think I put it away of early demos of the album before they got signed, and it's even that stuff is great. So I've always thought of it as two different bands. It's hard for me to pick a side because the Sammy years,
right. No,
I could between the two, it would be Sammy for me, but that doesn't cut down David Lee Roth. Both are great frontmen. Both are great vocalists in their own right. It's just with Sammy, he has a more bluesy approach to notes, where David Lee Roth can't do that, bearing it almost to an imitation of Frank Sinatra, doing it in a baritone. I did it my way, right?
Yeah.
So
and David's
that lack of blues approach versus Sammy's approach, I favor Sammy.
Well, the music sanctuary is pretty much echoing kind of how I feel. I agree with Zepp Pearl. They are two different sounding bands, in my opinion, and that's how I feel. Yeah. It's almost like two bands, David Lee Roth was, way more flamboyant. And,
it was such a fresh start when Sammy joined too. That's it was
right.
Yeah, it was a shot in the arm they needed too.
Oh, that's what I meant by they seemed so. I mean, they just seemed like a whole stress level was lifted when Sammy came on. They just went out there.
Right.
One thing I noticed the difference between the two though is the Sammy era. It doesn't seem as raw as the early one. It seems to have taken a little bit of that hard edge off, a little bit.
Yeah.
Until maybe balance, they started getting a little bit heavier again.
I think that was kind of experience too. I mean, Sammy brought a little polish maybe to it. I mean, obviously he had success with Montrose, his solo career. I mean, he didn't have to join that band. He was doing fine on his own, So
right, and I think partly what you're talking about too is that sophomoric approach that I was talking about earlier in the way that David Lee Roth approaches his vocals, but the whole band kind of followed him in that sense. There was a more jingle hard edge that they had early on that kind of got smoothed a bit, and there was a lot better production on the albums as they went along too. So,
well, I think a lot of the younger Van Halen fans, of course, Van Halen, it's been a long time now, but I mean the very much younger than myself fans and the early fans, they couldn't imagine anybody but David Lee Roth being the front man, and there was some hate towards Sammy Hagar, They just couldn't handle the change, you know. I mean, Adam right here, Adam NC, Hagar is great. I don't understand some of the hate he gets, you know, because it was hard for them to get past David Lee Roth leaving the band and being replaced. And I became a fan later. I became a fan more in the era of Sammy Hagar, although of course I listened to Van Halen and had a couple of CDs and stuff like that. But I became a bigger fan later, you know.
And one thing I think Sammy gets blamed for, but it's not his fault, is he didn't come in and push David out. David pretty much wrote that on himself. He wrote himself out of the
No, that's right. Yeah.
So maybe like they needed a singer, and or you're not going to find any better singer at that particular time than Sammy.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know the story. It was really by chance. Eddie went to go get his
car
fixed.
Right.
The mechanic said, "Sammy just left with his. Why don't you give him a call? He's a good, you know." It was kind of funny story.
That's a great story.
Oh no, yeah, cool. Eddie was getting his dropped the Maserati off or something like that, and his mechanic said Sammy was just here and said, "Sammy, give him a call. You guys should jam." And then they did the jam. The first time they played was at the first Farm Aid, and they came out and they just did like, you know, they did rock and roll and maybe something else, and that kind of was like the audition. And then, you know, next thing you know,
that is so rock and roll.
Isn't that outstanding?
Yeah, I'm dropping my Maserati off, and so just dropped off his Porsche. Hey, you need a lead singer?
Just call him.
Welcome to sunny California, man. Yeah. That's you know, that's rock and roll, folks.
That's exactly right. I got his check right here with his phone number if you want it.
You know, I said in the comments, you know, Sammy Hagar is the Margaritaville of hard rock. I mean, you know, he carries that whole persona, and it's just him. That's him. You know, that's just him.
Well, if you
he did the whole Mas Tequila song, and I mean, when he did that tour, he had the whole he had the little grass bar behind him, and people, the fans were on stage. It was a big party.
Well, he's got his own chain.
I'll tell you what,
shots and tequila.
I haven't done a top 10 of my top 10 favorite vocalist in rock. Everybody knows that, you know, of course, Robert Plant.
Number one.
Would be at the top of that list. But Sammy Hagar would make the top 5, 6 for sure. All right. That's how much respect I've got for that man's chops.
Yeah.
And like I said, he always anchors himself in the blues, and so that gives him a what would you call that, a validity to me somehow. I don't know. I'm a big blues fan, you know. I mean, as far as any rock fan is a blues fan, you know, I love the great blues writers of the 40s and 50s that had the style that blended into rock and roll.
It's the blues-based rock for me all the way.
Right.
It always has been.
And you'll always grab me a little bit faster if you've got just a tinge of the blues. As a matter of fact, I did a video on that. Yeah, in the video I did on it, I suggested here's one way to save rock and roll. Too many bands are coming up with, well, we did this whole section on computer, and then we got the English gospel choir in here to do this.
And then our drummer sent us his computer file for the
Exactly, Vance. Yeah, you perfectly said. You know, and so to me, rock is so anchored in the blues, whether it's the down-home Southern blues or the Appalachian approach, which has a lot of its genealogy from Britain, right? And Ireland and all of that. Whether it has either one of those approach, it's rock and roll to me, you know, every time. And Sammy bleeds that for me.
And then since
Royce,
yes.
I you know, you're speaking about record store day, brother.
Yes. Yes.
See what I got at Record Store Day?
Oh, look at that! Nice. Is that the red vinyl? Was that the red vinyl?
And I even got this. I just want to let everybody know, both of these were sent to me by Royce. Royce, you are a sweetheart. I just got it today.
Thanks, brother.
And I've been waiting all night to say thank you. You are so awesome. Wow, what a early Christmas gift this is.
I guess they call it. Yeah.
No, you're awesome,
you, man.
You're the man.
I appreciate all your help and support, and most of all, friendship.
That goes without saying. You know that.
No, I've
heard nothing but good things about that Rolling Stones record. I love it, except for the one with Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I love it. I know there's a lot of talk.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk in the vinyl community that it's okay. And, you get a lot of that. And I think it's way better than just okay. I think it's a great album. Now, is it a Sticky Fingers? No, not at all. Exile on Main Street? No. But it is one of their upper echelon albums, if not in that lower range of those upper echelon albums. I'll give you an example. Everybody's cutting down that, well, they either like it or they don't, but there's a lot of people cutting down their first single, Angry. Re-listen to it, listen to the melody.
No, I like that song.
I'm a songwriter, as you know, Royce. Right. And I know what it takes to make a melody and to create a melody that goes in the right direction. And it's a rocker with such a fucking nice melody. Then you get to the Sweet Sounds of Heaven.
Right.
Is that it? Sweet Sounds of Heaven?
Sweet Sounds of Heaven, yes, with Lady Gaga.
And I'm hearing some people, and I'm hearing this from people I really respect in the vinyl community.
No, same here.
All right. But I humbly disagree with them. This is not the Stones trying to sound like, what's the song they're comparing it to? I don't hear it. I don't hear that. I know
what you mean, but I can't think of the name of it.
It's the one with Mary Wells who sang in the background, it's escaping me at the moment. Right, but anyway, I don't hear the connection other than you have a female singer in the back, which, okay, so what? And I'm not a Lady Gaga fan. You can bet your poker face on that. All right, but she does an incredible job on this song, I have to admit. Well, I think it's an A+ album. There's nothing wrong with this from a band this old and with 18 years of unexperience in producing
putting out new albums. Right.
They did the copy, but the blues cover, but that just meant they could play.
It almost doesn't count. Right.
That's not why I listen to the Stones. I don't listen to the old Stones cover of, Screamin' Jay Hawkins' version of Emily Blunt's translation of whatever song. I listen to Satisfaction, man. I like Goodbye Ruby Tuesday.
Right.
I go running for the cupboard of my mother's little helper. That's the fucking Stones.
Those are great
to me. I want what the Stones wrote.
Absolutely timeless songs they rolled with. Yeah. No, I hear you. I have no issues. I have no issues with these Sweet Sounds of Heaven. A lot of people have made negative comments about Lady Gaga. I think the whole song sounds fine, I mean,
and Johnny L keeps championing Rolling Stone blues, and he's absolutely right. That was the weakest song on the album for me when I first heard it. But the more I contemplated what it was, and it is the one cover on the album, it's marvelous. And I would have I wouldn't have ended the album with that. I understand the history and why it should be. I would have ended side one with that, and then ended the whole album with the Sweet Sounds of Heaven. that makes you want to turn it right back over.
Flip it over, play it again.
Yeah,
right.
Keith Richards' spot is essential. It has to be there, but it should have been halfway through the album, not just as a tag along.
Right.
That's my only criticism.
It's
of
a great
the album in general. Yeah,
great album. You know what's funny is we have a second poll going here. It has to do with Sharon Osbourne.
Oh my goodness!
And that is one of the positive aspects of Sharon Osbourne.
We got them. Hey, look, we got the French Vinyl Addict just joined us. How you doing? Thank you.
Hey,
Thanks for showing up. Yeah, that did fix the echo. I'm way behind on the chat.
The Osbournes are doing. They're doing a vlog here on YouTube now.
Oh no, they have their own YouTube show, the Osmonds. That's correct.
Of course they do.
I have not seen it yet.
Oh my!
You know what I say? I call her that star of that hit TV series, Ozzy and Scariot.
She learned from her dad, Don Arden.
Yeah,
I believe she learned from Don Arden. Rule with an iron hand. Be in charge, get things your way, and that's it.
Right.
Yes,
right.
Daddy, and then I'll fall in love with him and control him by mean, evil mind spells.
Yeah, I love Ozzy. I got to see him in '81 with Randy, and
I do too, man.
But yeah, he went from scary to not scary.
I saw Ozzy. Well, Black Sabbath '71. You know, and right after I'd become a fan, actually, 71 at the Las Vegas Convention Center, the area I grew up in, and then again at the California Jam in '75. Wow. Yeah,
my first bump with Black Sabbath was 1972. I was 17 years old. I was born in North Carolina, raised in California, but I went back for high school in North Carolina. And the drugstore was the only place you could get an album. And I picked up 3 albums that day. One was Killer by Alice Cooper. One was Harvest by Neil Young. And the other was War Pigs. Or whatever you're going to call that album. By Black Sabbath. That was its actual original title.
Yeah,
was War Pigs, or even more earlier, War Purges. There's a whole story. I do a video on it, a whole story around that.
Hey, Michael, but we have a request for a future show. Hoping
Dolly's coming up, people. For a woman that I have so much respect for, she is. Well, you know what, Dolly Parton and Ozzy, if he's not careful, are the new rock scary clowns, if you think about it. You're right. Ozzy used to be the Prince of Darkness, and his solo career, it became so flamboyant that you felt like he was Liberace up there. It was rock's version of that. Right. It was more flamboyance than. That's why I love Alice Cooper. He always keeps the spook, right?
Right.
That's
and the joke.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Alex Cooper is just excellent.
And one of the most underrated writers in rock, by the way.
I would say so. Chris, have you seen Alice Cooper?
Yeah, I was going to say I've seen him twice here at the casino in Windsor. We have a Coliseum. It's 5,000 people.
Yeah.
First time I mean,
what do you do with lyrics like, please clean your plate, dear, the Lord above you can see you. Don't you know there's children dying in Korea, alcohol and razor blades, poison and needles. The kindergarten people, they use them, they need them. Decadent brains or decadent. Anyway, it goes on and on. We're at work to destroy brats and battalions, ruling the streets. Generation landslide, close the gap between them.
Wow.
And that guy can write. What a set of lyrics.
What? He's just so iconic. He's been around for, he was in Laurel Canyon with everybody. He was down at the Rainbow Club with his Hollywood Vampire Drinking Club. Long before
Thank you, Frank Zappa.
Vampire band. I mean, he's just been around with everybody forever.
Yes, he has. And he's one of my major influences.
Like you said, him and Zappa. Zappa was always there too.
Well, didn't Zappa give him his start?
Yeah.
Wasn't that part of the story?
That's part of the story. Yeah.
And he said, show up at 8. And they showed up at 8 in the morning. He goes, what the? And they go, well, you said 8. He says, at night.
Right.
Last time we saw Cooper, I caught 3 of these off his sword during $1 Billion Babies. We were in the second row.
$1 Billion Babies.